Let me rewind a bit. My wife works at a mid-sized manufacturing company. They make custom metal parts for construction projects. Think railings, gates, structural beams, that kind of stuff. It's a loud place. Smells like grease and burnt metal. Everyone wears steel-toe boots and safety glasses. Not exactly the kind of office with a water cooler and birthday cake in the break room. I've been a welder for about 15 years. Started when I was 16 in my uncle's garage. He fixed tractors and old trucks. I'd hold the flashlight, hand him tools, and eventually he let me strike an arc. First few times were terrible. Rods stuck to the metal. Burned my glove. Made a mess of ugly beads. But he didn't laugh. He just said, "Try again. Slower this time." So I did. Over and over until my arms hurt and my eyes felt like sandpaper from the flash burn. By the time I was 20, I could weld upside down, blindfolded almost. Not really blindfolded, but close. I learned stick welding, MIG, TIG, even oxyacetylene. I learned how to read the puddle. How to listen to the crackle. How to know when the temperature was right just by the color of the metal. That's the thing about welding. It's not just melting metal together. It's understanding how heat travels. How different metals react. How a small mistake turns a strong joint into a disaster waiting to happen. Fast forward to now. My regular welding job had a slow season. Work dried up for a couple months. My wife mentioned her company needed extra hands in the shipping department. Just packing boxes, labeling orders, moving pallets. Easy stuff. I said sure. Thought it'd be fun to see her in her element. First day was fine. Met her boss, a guy named Dave with a mustache that belongs in the 80s. Met her coworkers. Nice enough people. A few of them gave me that look. You know the one. Oh, you're the husband. Look. Like I was just some guy who got a pity job. I didn't care. I packed boxes, wrapped pallets. Drank bad coffee from a machine that hadn't been cleaned since Obama was president. Second day, same thing. Third day, things changed. I was walking past the fabrication floor during my lunch break. Saw one of the welders struggling with a piece of stainless steel. He was running a bead that looked like a caterpillar on drugs. Twisted, uneven, too hot in some spots, too cold in others. His name was Marcus. Big guy, kind eyes, clearly frustrated. He kept stopping, chipping off slag, shaking his head. I didn't mean to say anything, honestly. But my mouth opened. Before my brain could stop it. Try turning your amps down about 15 and move a little faster. You're cooking the chromium out. Marcus looked at me like I just spoke Mandarin. Then he looked at the weld, then back at me. You weld? Used to, I said. Long time. He handed me the stinger. Just like that. Didn't ask for credentials. Didn't ask for permission. Just handed it over like, all right then, show me. So I did. I flipped down my hood, adjusted the amps, struck an arc. And for the next 45 seconds, I ran one of the cleanest stainless beads I've ever done. Smooth, consistent, perfect color. When I lifted my hood, 3 other guys had gathered. Nobody said a word. They just stared at the weld like it was a magic trick. Marcus finally spoke. Where did you learn to weld like that? Uncle's garage, I said. Old tractors and patience. He laughed. Not a mean laugh. A surprised laugh. Like he couldn't believe that answer. Introduce a problem/challenge. That should have been the end of it. Nice moment. Moved on. But that's not what happened. Over the next week, I kept hearing whispers. Not mean whispers. Confused whispers. I'd be walking to the bathroom and hear, "That's Sarah's husband." The shipping guy. Have you seen his welds? Or I'd be eating my sad sandwich in the break room and someone would say, where does he get so much welding skill? He's not even a welder here. The problem wasn't the whispers. The problem was what they represented. See, in that shop, welding was status. The best welders got respect. They got the tricky jobs. They got left alone. And here I was, a temporary shipping guy, showing up the full-timers. That creates tension. Real tension. The kind that gets you frozen out or worse. One guy, Eddie, started giving me hard looks. Eddie was the self-proclaimed best welder in the shop. Had the pictures on his phone to prove it. Big, thick welds on heavy equipment. He saw my stainless bead and didn't say a word. Just stared. Then walked away. My wife told me later that Eddie had been there 12 years. Never missed a day. And he did not like being shown up by someone packing boxes. Exploration/development. So here's where I had a choice. I could keep my head down. Do my shipping job. Leave the welding to the welders. That would have been the smart play. But I've never been that smart. Or maybe I'm too curious for my own good. I started talking to Marcus more. Asked him about the machines they used, the materials, the common problems. Turns out, their shop had a lot of issues. Porosity in welds. Cracking on certain joints. Inconsistent penetration. Stuff that costs money and time. Stuff that gets projects delayed and clients angry. Marcus showed me their welding procedure sheet. It was wrong. Not a little wrong. Dangerously wrong. They were using the wrong filler rod for one of their main materials. That's like using super glue to fix a broken chair. It might hold for a minute, but eventually someone's hitting the floor. I told Marcus. He nodded but didn't say much. Later that week, I found out he took it to Dave. Dave listened but didn't change anything. Why? Because changing the procedure meant retraining everyone. Meant admitting they'd been doing it wrong for years. Meant swallowing pride. And pride is expensive. That's when I realized something important. Skill alone doesn't fix problems. You can be the best welder in the world. But if the people in charge won't listen, nothing changes. I'd seen this before. At my uncle's shop. At other jobs. Good workers get ignored all the time because the truth is uncomfortable. Meanwhile, the whispers got louder. Not just about my welding anymore. About who I was. Why I was really there. One woman whispered to my wife, "Is he checking up on you?" Another guy said, "Maybe he got fired from his real job." People love filling in gaps with their own stories when they don't have the facts. Then came the Friday that changed everything. A big rush order came in. Structural supports for a new bridge project. Had to be done by Monday morning. The head welder, Eddie, was on it. He worked all day Friday. Looked good from a distance. But when the quality inspector came through with the ultrasound machine, he found problems. Internal cracks. Hidden flaws you can't see with your eyes. The kind that get people killed when a bridge fails. Dave was panicked. Red in the face. Yelling at Eddie. Eddie yelling back. The whole shop stopped to watch. And in that silence, my wife looked at me. Just looked. Didn't say a word. But I knew what that look meant. It meant, "You can fix this." So I walked over. Didn't ask permission. Didn't wait for an invitation. I said, "Let me see the joint." Eddie laughed. A real nasty one. "You? The shipping guy? Go wrap a pallet." Dave hesitated. Looked at me. Looked at the failed welds. Looked at the clock. Then he said, "How fast can you do one?" "Faster than yelling at each other," I said. He handed me a grinder. I cut out Eddie's welds. Prepped the metal. Cleaned every inch until it shined like a mirror. Set my machine. Checked my gas flow. Made sure my filler rod was the right one this time. Then I welded. 4 passes. Each one better than the last. Took me about 25 minutes. The inspector ran the ultrasound again. Paused. Looked at the screen. Looked at me. Then he smiled. Clean as a whistle, he said. No cracks. No inclusions. That's how it's supposed to look. Dave let out a breath he'd been holding since 1998, Eddie. Walked away without another word. And the whispers stopped. Not because people forgot, but because they finally understood. I wasn't there to show anyone up. I wasn't there to take anyone's job. I was just a guy who knew how to move metal and heat in a way that made sense. So what did I learn from all this? First, skill speaks for itself eventually. You don't have to brag. You don't have to prove anything. Just do the work and let the results do the talking. Second, never underestimate where someone comes from. A guy packing boxes might have 15 years of welding in his bones. A woman answering phones might have been a nurse for a decade. People are not their job titles. And third, sometimes the best thing you can do is help without expecting credit. I didn't fix that bridge joint for a raise or a promotion. I fixed it because it was the right thing to do. Because a bad weld on a bridge means someone's father or mother or kid drives over it one day and doesn't come home. That's bigger than office politics. Bigger than whispers. I finished my temp job a few weeks later. Went back to my regular welding gig. But before I left, Dave pulled me aside. Offered me a full-time job on the fabrication floor. Double the pay. His own box of tools. I thanked him and said no. Not because I was angry or proud. Just because I liked my uncle's garage better. Old tractors and patience. That's still my kind of place.